ICE agents deport 3 young children who are also American citizens. Oh, maybe these kids were members of MS-13? Months? This is just another day. Since Trump took office, he's made 2 solemn oaths to the American people. 1, that if the Pope died, he'd wear a blue suit to his funeral just to be a dick. And 2, that he'd crack down on the most violent, hardened criminals who've been pouring over our border. Well, looks like our prez just went 2 for 2.
3 children, all U.S. citizens, have been forcibly removed from the U.S. with their migrant mothers and sent to Honduras.
These children, ages 2, 4, and 7, are U.S. citizens and were sent with their mothers who were deported Friday morning.
Finally, this White House is eradicating crime from America's sandboxes. So this weekend in Louisiana, 2 mothers brought their children, who are U.S. citizens, along to their routine check-ins at ICE offices. They were then arrested, given virtually no opportunity to speak with lawyers or family members, and they were then deported to Honduras in less than 3 days. Damn, I really don't see how this gets worse.
In the case of the 4-year-old, lawyers say the child has a rare form of cancer and was removed from this country without medication.
My God, I think even some of our top villains would be like, maybe slow your roll a bit there? Like, I'm sorry, but is this a tactic? Do they think that going so far outside the bounds of the law and decency will endear them to Americans when they start tearing apart families that don't have terminally ill children? Well, at today's White House press briefing, Border Czar Tom Homan dropped by to defend these actions.
If you choose to have a U.S. citizen child, knowing you're in this country legally, you put yourself in that position. You put your family in that position. What we did is remove children with their mothers who requested the children depart with them. This was a parental decision. Parenting 101. The mothers made that choice. And I tell you what, if we didn't do it, the story today would be Trump administration separating families again.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think you need to be worried about bad PR. Pretty sure that ship has sailed. But also, it's not a binary choice of either hastily deporting a mom with or without her children. There's this funny little third option where you have a shred of humanity, slow down, and let due process occur. But obviously, that's not their style.
Are you concerned that due process, at least for the U.S. citizen children, is being flouted and that the speed at which the enforcement is being done could lead to errors, as was the case in the Kilmar-Abreu-Garcia case? And then also if you could give an update on the deportation numbers under this administration and whether you're pleased with them.
First of all, I don't accept the term error in Abreu-Garcia. There is an oversight.
This administration is now potato-potatoing its massive failings when it comes to rushed deportations. Call it an error, an oversight, a slip-up, a mistake, a boo-boo, even a whoopsie. It's all a big fucking problem. But these seemingly slight changes in verbiage are not accidental.
There's a withholding order. But things have changed. The facts around the withholding order has changed. He is now a terrorist. We're seeing the withholding order set aside.
Right there. You hear that? With Abreu-Garcia recategorized as a terrorist, the original rules no longer apply. He's not an immigrant, he is a threat to our nation. These seemingly small shifts in rhetoric are used to skirt the rules after the fact. It's like getting busted after having an affair and then claiming you want an open marriage. And they're not just reclassifying people, they're also moving the goalposts on other aspects of their border policy.
Mr. Homan, talking about the border wall, can you give us an update as far as how many miles are being built today? And is Mexico paying for it, as the president said they were going to?
Trump said Mexico will pay for the wall. They have in a roundabout way, have they not? Putting 10,000 military on the northern and southern border, taking the action they did to remain in Mexico. They didn't have to do that, they're doing it. Putting military on the southern border. Have moved illegal immigration to a record low. We're saving millions of dollars every day on detention, transportation, removal proceedings. We've more than made up for the cost of that wall.
First off, never a good sign when you're using the term roundabout way to declare victory. But also, that was not the pitch from your boss that everyone remembers.
Who's gonna pay for the wall? 100%. By the way, 100%.
I'm guessing the crowd would have been a little less receptive if Trump had been a little bit more honest in saying that Mexico is going to theoretically pay for the wall through cost savings. Oh, and also Americans would have to chip in about $15 billion in taxpayer money. And by the time he actually left office the first time, only 52 of the 900 miles of promised wall would actually be completed. So I guess, in a roundabout way, your boss is full of shit. But these are deliberate moves by the Justice Department to not just recategorize people and money, but to keep shifting the narrative that brown people are the problem.
You see these signs behind us. All the arrests have been made over the last 100 days. Homicide, child sex abuse, rape and sodomy. The mugshots of those who have been captured and taken off the streets. Why do you want people to see that? Why do you want the press to see that?
Well, look, the mainstream media, as you know, Brian, doesn't want to cover this story.
Yeah, I don't think it's because of the lack of signage. I have a feeling that unless this administration gets the level of media coverage they're happy with, we are weeks away from them advertising on the Sphere. But yes, as a way of spiking the football, today the White House decorated the North Lawn with mugshots of arrested immigrants who have committed brutal crimes. And look, I hate to be the facts guy here, but if the White House wants to gloat about the criminals who've been busted in this country, they might want to grab a can of white spray paint for those posters. According to the FBI, when it comes to arrests by ethnicity, white people are crushing Hispanics and Latinos by almost 4 million. I mean, come on, this administration promised to be merit-based, and here they are, DEIing white people out of getting the recognition they deserve. Contrary to what Tom Homan and the rest of Trump's team would have you believe, Democrats, federal judges, and members of the media are not pushing back because they think child rapists and fentanyl-dealing murderers should be running our summer camps. They're doing it because they want their leaders to follow the law and own up to their mistakes. Trump's presidency has, in just a few months, been fraught with massive failures, but any admission of this is not only seen as a sign of weakness, but a fireable offense. I can't believe I'm saying this right now, but Trump's administration can actually learn something from admitting fault from a guy in his 20s. This weekend, 21-year-old Jax Olrich, the son of the Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator, pulled a shitty prank on NFL draft pick Shedeur Sanders. Sanders, along with everybody else in this country, thought he'd be a first-round draft pick, but he ended up going in the 5th to the Cleveland Browns. But while Sanders was waiting, he got a call from Olrich pretending to be the general manager of the Saints and claiming they were going to draft him. It was an incredibly shitty thing to do. And yet, when Olrich got busted, he did something not a single person in Trump's orbit would ever dare do. He apologized.
Olrich apologizing to Shedeur on Instagram, writing, "I'm so sorry I took away from your moment. It was selfish and childish." And Sanders is trying to put the whole thing behind him.
This is what it is. I think of course the dude was childish. Of course I feel like it was a childish act, but everybody do childish things here and there.
You see that? That's how it's done. And to his credit, Shedeur handled it like an absolute pro. When the douchey bros have a better understanding of accountability than the grown-ass adults running the federal government, we might be in trouble. Granted, nobody in the administration will even notice, unless, that is, we stick it on a lawn sign.